This is probably the fifth time I've tried to do this, but I've had some technical issues. But here we go. Hard mode 30. What it did to my brain. 30 days of no gluten, sugar, dairy, or processed foods. Yeah, no alcohol. And I didn't eat until 4 p.m. each day. Every single day for 30 days, all right? I thought this was going to be just a weight loss thing. I didn't know it would just kind of change the trajectory of my year, my goals this year, and then quite possibly my life. If I can get some traction with getting people on board doing this challenge with me, that would be freaking amazing. But yeah, I think I've really changed my identity as far as just how I show up in this world and how I feel day in, day out. It's really just been such a positive impact in my life. And here we are. We're going to be talking about it. All right. This was a very grueling challenge for the first 7 days. And I just want to just give you the gist of it. All right. 30 days, I did it. Felt amazing. Did another 30 days. Felt amazing again. And at that point, March 1st rolled around and I was doing 75 hard. So I was doing 75 hard along with this challenge. So the only thing that really changed between this diet, this new lifestyle that I was living, and the 75 hard challenge was the working out every day. All right, I had to work out. I think the rules were you had to work out twice, 45 minutes each. One has to be outdoors. So first and foremost, sugar is addictive. So when you cut out sugar, this is the highest leverage move in the entire system, in the entire challenge. All right, it says research shows that excess sugar reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex. This is part of your brain that's responsible for focus, impulse control, and decision making. Suppression literally mimics symptoms of ADHD and early cognitive decline. Not surprised there. For all my life, I thought I've had ADHD, and instead of ingesting a pill, not saying those pills don't work, they do work, but there are some side effects. You could just cut out sugar and you'll be good. It says most people are walking around with chemically suppressed prefrontal cortex every single day, and they think it's just their personality when it's really just their sugar intake. And then body-wise, sugar triggers neuroinflammation. Well, not body-wise, but brain-wise. Brain is on low-grade fire. That fire disrupts your neurotransmitters, and that controls your mood, your motivation, and obviously your focus and your clarity. This causes a dopamine loop. Sugar activates the mesolimbic dopamine system. It's the same reward circuit system behind gambling and scrolling on social media. So every time you eat a sweet, it's just kind of pulling the lever of your favorite slot machine or scrolling on TikTok. Saying that you're not choosing sugar, your brain is choosing it for you. All right, so cutting that out, the inflammation dropped and the prefrontal cortex came back online. It was not suppressed anymore. I do not have ADHD. I just had a sugar addiction that caused a dopamine loop of brain fog. All right. So when you cut out sugar, your clarity and focus increases. Thus, you can be more disciplined. All right. And then we're going to talk about gluten now. What gluten was doing to me, gut-wise and brain-wise. Your gut is literally sending signals to your brain all day. When gluten is inflaming your gut, the communication gets disrupted. Without any formal diagnosis, gluten sensitivity can impact cognitive function through this neural pathway. Yeah, and then it says there's a study out of Monash University where researchers tracked people who went strictly gluten-free for 1 month. Brain fog resolved as a result, and then the process in information in their brain and cognitive function improved and got faster. 1 month. That research was done for 1 month, all right? So hard mode 30, definitely, it is proven that it will give you more mental clarity and focus, and you'll be operating more within your prefrontal cortex, and that won't be bogged down. All right? Then you're going to compound those effects with fasting. All right. It says what fasting did, the molecule that explains everything. When you fast, your body burns through its glucose and switches to fat as fuel. This produces something called ketones, a cleaner, more efficient energy source for your brain. Definitely felt like I've had unlimited energy, stable energy, energy that was clean. It really is clean fuel for your mind, body, spirit, soul. And then it says here fasting increases production of brain derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. BDNF is essentially miracle grow for your brain. All right. Yes, my brain definitely got bigger in terms of just being able to absorb, learn, and just it was just firing on all cylinders. Because not, I mean, you're not only eating clean fuel, you're fasting and you're promoting. You're not using glucose as your energy. You're using stored fat and turning that into ketones. All right. So BDNF. All right. So it promotes the growth of new neural pathways, strengthens connections between existing ones. This is critical for memory learning and neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, it's basically your brain's ability to adapt and form new patterns. And then it says to conclude in separate studies tracking people in nutritional ketosis, participants recalled more words, completed tasks faster, and performed better on planning a decision task. Basically, I was not overthinking as much. I had pretty much full access to my brain. And I'm very intentional with my thoughts now, and it really does show. Really, I hate to sound new agey, but it really manifests into really positive things in this world. So honestly, you change your inputs, your internal world, and your internal belief system, it will change. It will change for the better. You'll just get clearer. You just get clearer on what you want. You'll feel normal. This is what it feels like to feel normal, to not have all these things kind of disrupt the clean signal that you can operate from. And yeah, let me just conclude this. What lateral thinking actually feels like. We got two more sections here that we're going to cover. Lateral thinking is the ability to pull framework from one area of your life and apply it to somewhere completely different. Business, relationships, dating, hobbies, all different pillars, but with lateral thinking, you can just kind of interweave things where it all connects. Everything just connects. Everything just makes sense, even though they are completely different topics or forums. Most people's thinking is siloed. Everything lived in a separate box. Everything was compartmentalized. But what hard mode 30 did neurochemically, it lowered inflammation, higher BDNF, and a functioning prefrontal cortex. Very last section. What happens when you stack all of it? You pull sugar, neuroinflammation drops, prefrontal cortex comes back online. Pull gluten, the gut calms down, gut-brain axis clears, brain fog lifts. Fast until 4, brain switches to ketones. New neural connections form. Every one of those was adding noise. Inflammation, blood sugar instability, hormonal disruption. All of this was interference. What you're left with is a brain running in clean silence. And speaking of silence, I am very, very comfortable with it being silent for an extended amount of time. My thoughts don't ruminate as much anymore. But yeah, anyways, yeah, when you stack all these things that you're not inputting, the frequency that you're operating in, it's high. It's high, it's clean, it's clear. So yeah, this is what hard mode 30 did to my brain neurochemically. Pretty amazing stuff. Thank you for tuning in.